You know what? This is a conversation that I think nobody expected to have. A month ago, we saw ourselves a trade made between the Calgary Flames and the Philadelphia Flyers, in which some pretty notable names were swapped around. You had some young guys, you had some middle-aged guys, but at the end of the day, this was a change of scenery trade, which involved some very particular names like Joel Farabee, Andrei Kuzmenko, Morgan Frost, and Jakob Pelche. This trade was made a month ago, and a lot of us responded to it saying, okay, wait a minute, what? That's ridiculous. The Philadelphia Flyers are getting Andrei Kuzmenko for Farabee? Why? And there was an entire video that we made about it, so you could dive into that and watch our take about it from 3 weeks ago, but the Andrei Kuzmenko Philadelphia trade was one that a lot of folks would say came from a place of necessity. Joel Farabee, sure, he's the quote-unquote better player who has been slumping a little bit, Andrei Kuzmenko slumping even more from his season 2 years ago, but ultimately, this trade was seen as a move where Philadelphia's value came from the youth with the Jakob Pelche acquisition, as well as Andrei Kuzmenko, because we had said that Kuzmenko is being utilized here as some sort of a translator, a link between Matvei Michkov and Tortorella. They're not necessarily getting Kuzmenko because they think he's an amazing player who can get 40 goals in the NHL and do all this stuff like he did 2 years ago, but they're getting him because, yeah, we kind of need a guy to translate. We need more support for Michkov and a system like Tortorella's that hopefully can bring the best out of the young player and allow him to continue his NHL success. But what if I told you that 3 weeks after that trade was done, we actually might be looking at it from an even more positive point of view when it comes to Kuzmenko? This show is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go out there and check out the first link in the description. Save some money in your VPN, get some free months, and support this YouTube channel on the process. I wanted to refer to Andrei Kuzmenko's game log, because the trade was made 3 weeks ago, yes. We had a multiple-week All-Star Four Nations break in there, too. But even though the trade was done at the end of January, pretty much, Andrei Kuzmenko has only played 2 games for the Philadelphia Flyers since then. And those 2 games happen to both be wins, and those 2 games happen to have featured Andrei Kuzmenko points. He's got 2 points in 2 games as a member of the Philadelphia Flyers, and he has gotten 6 points in his last 5 games, if you go back to the 3 games he had with the Flames. Kuzmenko had some issues with his visa and crossing the border and stuff. You know, he's a Russian guy, and he was playing in Vancouver, and then he was playing in Calgary. So all of the paperwork that he needed to be a professional athlete in the National Hockey League was assigned to Canada. Heading over to the US and Philadelphia, there was a lot more stuff that needed to be done, which is why the holdup was there. He was in the building, he was watching the games, but he wasn't allowed to play. Anyways, Andrei Kuzmenko, in the 2 games he has had with Philadelphia so far, has 2 points, and I wanted to go over an article published on NBCSportsPhiladelphia.com from 2 days ago, following the Philadelphia Flyers' win over the Edmonton Oilers 6-3. This was after the break. The Flyers absolutely took it to the Oilers, and this is what Tortorella had to say about Andrei Kuzmenko. He padded the Flyers' lead to 5-3 in the second period on a superb give-and-go play on the power play. The return pass came from Travis Konechny. It was Kuzmenko's first goal with the Flyers in his second game. You can see that he wants that puck on the power play, Tortorella said. Right away, he's tapping the stick. TK makes a great pass. Kuzmenko knows where to go. He adds some skill, he adds some enthusiasm, he seems like a really good kid. We need to get 200 feet too at certain times. Judging from what I've seen of him in the short time I've had him, I think he's very coachable. And this is one of the things that a lot of people were clamoring about before the trade was officially confirmed. And I say that because we knew that Kuzmenko would have gotten traded to Philadelphia, but we didn't know the details until hours later into the night. But we were all kind of joking around and posting memes on the internet like, oh, Andrei Kuzmenko was really, really poor defensively in Vancouver, and it's why he got the boot, because Rick Tocchet didn't trust him. Imagine this guy playing for Tortorella. Imagine John Tortorella ripping the shreds Andrei Kuzmenko and his lack of defensive prowess. And now Tortorella's like, yeah, like we need to work on the defense a little bit. He needs to have a 200-foot game. He's smart offensively, but I think he's a coachable guy, which is a very good thing to hear from one of the NHL's biggest boogeymen of a coach. Now, all joking aside here, Tortorella is a great dude. We know that he is a good interview. We know that as he's gotten older, he has adjusted his ways to the style and habits of the modern game. We saw that when he let his foot off the gas pedal on Mishkov for trying the lacrosse goal. But Tortorella, speaking this about Kuzmenko, I think it is pretty good. The 29-year-old Russian winger is gifted offensively, and the Flyers have badly needed that type of playmaking on their power play. You can see his offense, you can see his skill, Tortorella said. The encouraging thing to me is that sometimes I think he makes a couple of mistakes defensively. I correct him on the bench as we're playing. The same type of plays come to him, and then he makes the correction. I watch the play away from the puck. I see him make the corrections right away. That really sits well with me as far as understanding that part of it, and we'll let him go offensively. And with that, we're starting to see more of what made Andrei Kuzmenko a much more valuable NHL player in Vancouver the first time around under Bruce Boudreau versus Rick Tocchet. Might I remind you, the season where Andrei Kuzmenko had 39 goals in Vancouver was Elias Pettersson's 100-plus point year. And we all recognize that Kuzmenko wasn't amazing defensively in that season, but when he lets go offensively, and he's got that confidence, he has the belief of the coach, Bruce Boudreau was a lot more, okay, do what you want, Kuzi, yeah, you're good, you can just go out there and execute, than Rick Tocchet seems to have been. And Kuzmenko had nearly 40 goals and 70-plus points because of it. So now, we are seeing tweets like this be made by Philadelphia Flyers fans and reporters. Look at Jamie Basco. He does stuff for FlyersNittyGritty.com. He posted this the other day. Tortorella said about Kuzmenko, he seems like a really good kid. I think he's very coachable. It sure doesn't sound like the Flyers will flip him at the deadline. He might be part of the solution here. #Flyers. And a lot of people are going out there and responding. This tweet, by the way, has 200 likes. A lot of people are going out there and saying, yeah, like, let's hope so. There's an argument that says that he should be. He fits. He is a guy who had 39 goals, so he does have the potential. And this is where we start to see maybe the Andrei Kuzmenko revival tour is real. Let alone the extra value that he brings to the team by knowing Russian and being a former teammate of Matvei Mishkov's with SKA St. Petersburg. There are multiple ways to skin the cat, and there are multiple ways that Andrei Kuzmenko is bringing value to this Philadelphia Flyers team. In his coachability, in his energy, in his offensive skill, he is on the first power play with Mishkov. He's playing on the second line, too, so it seems like Tortorella and the Flyers are giving Kuzmenko significant minutes. We'll see this, whether or not it carries over into the next game tomorrow for Philadelphia, but for now, Andrei Kuzmenko's looking pretty good. And I think maybe at this point, you know, we're talking about Farabee and Frost and how good they've been and the talent profile they have. Of course, they're going to bring a lot of extra offensive push into the Calgary Flames system, but those guys, I mean, none of them are a point per game like Andrei Kuzmenko is. And granted, it's only been 2 games, but Farabee only has 1 goal in 6 Flames games this season. Morgan Frost has 3 points in 6 Flames games this season, so it's not really looking amazing for these guys so far. Early returns haven't looked great on paper with the score sheet and the numbers and everything. But Kuzmenko in Philadelphia definitely has had more of an impact than I think anybody would have expected. So I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Is this the Andrei Kuzmenko revival tour? Is it actually happening? Are we going to see Kuzi bring some significant value to this Flyers team? Does he stick around with the team? Do the Flyers end up re-signing this guy? I want you to let me know your opinions in the comment section below about Andrei Kuzmenko. Is this a new wave Flyer? Let me know in the comments, how do you feel? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.